Check, check. Check, check.
I'm the.
Hillsborough. I,
Check, check. Check, check, check.
Like right here. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll meet you in the hallway out there.
Hello? Oh, yeah. They're on. Well, are the Spanish speakers here? They're all coming in a carpool. Okay. So you will need to connect them to interpretation. You may just.
I have equipment. What do you mean? Yeah.
Is someone else doing the equipment?
Yeah. So
Oh, I see.
equipment. Yeah.
Okay. Let's wait till Riley.
Yeah, I can't see anybody. Okay. They're coming together. They're coming together.
And where is Pastor Mike? Pastor Mike. Hola. Everybody. Is Reverend Cameron Barr here? Please come to the front. Is Rabbi Jen Feldman here?
Good, man. How are you? Good to see you, Jonah.
Either way, I feel like it's good to have like a multi-denominational presence online, but
Either
I'm
way.
okay with it.
We have a space is tight, so we have chairs and then a side people there. So either way you want to sit. You're welcome to sit in the front with
Tony Boss. What's your name? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. It's good to see you again.
Hello there. I just got back from a ice headquarter protest in DC.
Oh my goodness, how was it?
It was powerful. It was powerful. Actually, they rolled down all the stood in front of the headquarters with like 500 people in show cars. Some people actually didn't look at it. But we got national coverage. Which is good.
So organized.
A bunch of different Jewish Yeah, yeah. It's in the Washington Post, USA Today, and
Hello, everyone. We are about ready to get started, so if you could please take your seats quickly, we'll be ready to get started. So let's give a hand clap so we know we're here and ready to go. Thank you so much. I bring greetings to you on the behalf of our pastor, the Reverend Wayne Johnson, along with the officers and members of Mount Zion AME Church. We welcome each and every one of you here to take part of this candidate forum, United for Justice. So let us all work together and build a better community together. We welcome you, we welcome you, we welcome you. And if you should need our facilities, please go to the very back and go through the doors, and our facilities, men's restroom is on the right and the women's restroom is on the left. So please govern yourselves accordingly. Our opening prayer. We come this evening to ask that you make us strong in our hearts and in our minds in what unites us in brotherly and sisterly love. Help us to hear, listen, and encourage one another to be our best. Help us to build bridges across all the divide that divides us. And help us to become one and work together hand in hand with our community. Continue to be present in our communities by giving us more faith, more hope, and more love. This is our prayer. Amen.
Good evening, buenas noches. My name is Angie Schiavone. I'm here with Full Circle Interpreting. We are providing interpretation during today's assembly, so if anybody wants to hear in Spanish, please grab a device in the back. Hola, bienvenidos a todos y todas. Espero que estén muy bien. Estaremos brindando servicios de interpretación durante esta asamblea, así que si prefieren escuchar en español, por favor pasen afuerita de una mesa con los equipos para que tomen un aparato, por favor. And I think that's it. Hope you have a great assembly. If you hear us whispering over here, it's because we're interpreting, not on the phone being rude. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening. Welcome tonight. We thank you for being here as part of this assembly. We extend our heartfelt thanks to this branch of Zion, the angel of this house, Reverend Dr. Wayne Johnson, for graciously opening their facilities to us. I am Reverend Michael Jones. They call me Pastor Mike locally in the community. I serve as the community advocacy specialist at the Marion Cheek Jackson Center in Chapel Hill. Additionally, I'm a local associate minister here at the historic Mount Bright Missionary Baptist Church in Hillsborough. I've spent the last 5 years working one-on-one with residents across Orange County, working with them to stay in their homes despite rising property taxes and neighborhood changes due to property developers. We welcome you to our nonpartisan assembly with these county commissioner candidates. We do not endorse any candidates or parties. However, we do invite all to endorse our community priorities to preserve and create more affordable housing. Those who would ascend this mount of privilege to serve as a commissioner to represent this community, we invite you to hear tonight what are long-standing and overdue priorities for this county. So why are we here? And I want to make sure that we're direct and clear-eyed about this. We're here to answer the question, or the questions. Who is this county for? Who do our county commissioners want this county to be for? What are they prepared to do, and how are they prepared to work with us to make surely that it's truly a county for everyone? Is it a county of the elite or a county for all? We're facing injustice and fear on a national level. But now is the time for us to be about injustice locally. Listen, Orange County is the third wealthiest county in the state by median household income. Think about that. We have plenty of wealth. We also like to think of ourselves as being very progressive, pro-equality, and pro-justice. We've got a world-class university. I say that kind of timidly from Duke. But every tool at our fingertips to help us understand how to use our immense resources to ensure a just and a healthy and a thriving community. But this is the rub, and I want you to hear this tonight. We are the third worst county in income inequality in all of North Carolina. All the counties similar to us, Durham, Wake, Guilford, Mecklenburg, and more, are far more equal. We have the wealth, we talk the good talk, we do the research, but what's missing is the political will. And tonight, through the lens of taxation, that should come into clear focus with those who would ascend, would make a commitment. Our property tax system, which should be a tool of equity for all, is actually overtaxing historically black communities and lower wealth neighborhoods by millions of dollars, while letting investors and wealthier neighborhoods off the hook. Meanwhile, homeownership is growing increasingly out of reach. Even the housing we think of as affordable is raising in its prices and out of reach for families. And a lot of it is because of fewer public funds. All of this begs the same question. Who is this county for? Is it for the people who are wealthy, who are white, who can get the system working for them, or for everyone else whose lives are no less sacred whose rights should also be equal. We want to elect leaders to tackle these issues, not try to smooth them over, make modest changes around the margins, or keep doing business as usual. We're not naive. We know these are difficult times. The current commissioners will tell you, they told us a few weeks ago that they're going to need a projected $21 million budget shortfall next year that they're going to have to mitigate. We know commissioners were in a similar position last year. But we were able to increase funding for some departments as well as for property tax assistance, and we celebrate that. Our proposals tonight are ambitious, but they're grounded in reality. In moments of challenge, in tough decisions, it's more important than ever to get a clear eye on our priorities and that we stay clear. Will you say to this assembly and all of Orange County that you're that leader? The housing crisis today calls for more than a Band-Aid. It's going to continue to get worse without bold solutions. We're calling for accountability, and if need be, that folks might need to get fired if they can't get the job done. We don't need any more feasibility studies. We don't need to hire no more contractors to tell us what we already know. We spent all of last year proving through our countywide advocacy efforts that the process is unfair. We can no longer tolerate shifting priorities, half-hearted commitments, but we want people that are ready to get to work. What we're proposing requires commitment and imagination. It requires stretching. It's not going to be easy, but we do believe that it's possible and that it's worth it. This moment calls for leaders. Our invitation tonight to each of our candidates is to be that leader. Our invitation to everyone else here tonight are to be leaders, to continue building the people power that we feel here tonight, to continue building relationships with our elected officials that are grounded in accountability, collaboration, and innovation. Now, some might say our methodology tonight is difficult to accept. A yes or no on where you stand. Some might ask us to consider that there are considerations that when you go to make your decisions that are important. I say behalf on all of these folks that our response to that is simply, and I'll speak slowly because my Louisiana accent will betray me. Your commitment to affordable housing and fair taxation is never negotiable. And finally, there's a false notion that we can incrementally reform ourselves toward a return to a functional and equitable system of taxation. But to entertain such a notion is detached from our historical reality. There has never been a time where property taxation, valuation, or distribution has been equitable in Orange County. Tonight we want to recognize our groups that have come out. We're going to do a roll call. I'll ask that when your group's name is called, you hold up your sign. We're going to hold our applause to the end until we recognize all the groups, and then we're going to announce it. If we didn't give you your sign, I apologize that. I'll take that on me. Come see me after, and we'll make sure you get your sign. So first, we're going to start with our Orange County Justice United member groups. Binkley Baptist Church, where you at? Stand up and be recognized. Cathedral of Hope Mission Church. They shy. Y'all see them? Chapel of the Cross Episcopal Church. Chapel Hill Carborough NAACP. Church of the Holy Family. Church of Reconciliation. Empowerment Incorporated. Episcopal Church of the Advocate. Habitat for Humanity of Orange County. Hillsborough Presbyterian Church. Kehala Synagogue. Latticeville Grove Missionary Baptist Church. Lee's Chapel Missionary Baptist. Newman Catholic Community. Piney Grove Missionary Baptist. We see you. Refugee Community Partnership. Rena Rogers Eubanks Neighborhood Association. St. Paul AME Church. St. Matthew's Episcopal. St. Thomas More Catholic Church. United Church of Chapel Hill in La Mesa. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough. We also have other members of our Orange County Property Tax Justice Coalition. We're going to ask to stand and be recognized. The Marion Cheek Jackson Center, neighborhoods of Northside, Pine Nose, and Tin Top. The North Carolina Housing Coalition. Hickory Grove Missionary Baptist Church. All right, we see you. Faith Tabernacle Oasis of Love. Neighborhoods of Neville Road, Councilville, Rangewood. The Fairview Community. Terrell's Creek Missionary Baptist Church. Mount Bright Missionary Baptist Church. And our wonderful host, Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal. We'd like to invite, we're going to thank you all for that. And that you're here. If I hadn't already told you, you look beautiful. It's good to see you and be in the audience among you. We're going to invite our candidates to stand. They'll get an opportunity to introduce themselves, but we want them to stand and recognize them also. We also want to thank the NAACP for providing nonpartisan voter resources. If you haven't already talked to them, you can find them in their table at the front entrance after the assembly and give them also your thanks for the resources they provided. Thank you all again for coming out. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. If you're an elected official and you're here, please stand that we might recognize you also. If you're running for any office other than commissioner, if you're here, we want to recognize you also. If you'll stand so we can acknowledge you also. You know, I gotta say this. I can't help it. We coming for you too. Now, it's my honor, my distinct honor, to invite my colleague, my friend, my mentor, Mr. Hudson Vaughn from the North Carolina Housing Coalition, who's going to give a briefing from his seat over there on the impact of property tax justice and the work that we've been doing. Thank you.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? All right. I've been asked to give a glimpse of the problem, how we've made progress, and what's to come, where there's really more push that needs to happen. And so I will try to do this briefly. I know that this screen, I'm going to be pulling up a few slides on this screen. It's very hard for some of you to probably see this. Oh, it's up there too. Okay, cool. And I will try to talk as slowly as possible while moving as quickly as possible. I just want to say, first of all, thank you. It is because of the leadership of Justice United and RENA and the Jackson Center and so many leaders and organizers across neighborhoods all across Orange County that I'm even able to stand up here and share and identify the issue, to have shared the incredible progress being made, and to know that we have the power to bring about further change. And that is because of all of you, and it is because of so many folks who have continued throughout this county to advocate far, far longer than I have even been around. So thank you to those of you who have been so rooted here, who have made so many of our lives possible. And thank you for the privilege of allowing me to come before you tonight. My name is Hudson Vaughn. I work with the North Carolina Housing Coalition, a statewide housing nonprofit that works to ensure that every North Carolinian has a place to live with dignity and opportunity. And my work is specifically focused on anti-displacement. How do we keep folks in their homes in rooted communities? And how do we fight all of the rising things and investors and other speculation seeking to push folk out? So I'm going to give a brief overview. I just wanted to say at the beginning that I am not new to the property tax world. A lot of my work has focused on the inequities and unfairness of property valuation and property taxes. And I've written a number of pieces. I've been doing research and now worked with communities in many different counties across North Carolina to try to address this issue. However, the issue in Orange County has been much bigger than we have found in many of the other counties and where we have worked. And so that's what I want to talk about today. So, just very briefly, for those who don't know, nationwide, black-owned property is underappraised when folks are trying to get equity in their homes. Many of you probably know that. But it's actually overassessed for taxes. Now, I bet you many of you knew that even if you didn't know it, right? So, the exact opposite problem exists. And in North Carolina, all homes, all properties, so not just homes, are supposed to be valued at their full market value, at that revaluation time. However, homeowners of lower priced housing and in communities of color across North Carolina, many are paying as much as twice proportionally what they should be paying. And that is in both directions. They're overassessed and high-end properties are underassessed. So it goes both directions. And it shifts the burden onto communities of color primarily and some other lower income communities as well. And yet, 4 times as many homeowners of high-priced housing and commercial developments appeal their property taxes for being too high, and the problem gets worse. So, this is an example just to quickly show you of 2 properties in Carborough from this revaluation in Orange County. The black-owned property is 1/3 the size, 600 feet away from a student-owned 6-bedroom student rental. And literally, the person who has the 700 square foot house without an appeal would have paid more in property taxes. No sewer connection, no access to street frontage for the black-owned property. Yet he would have been paying more in property taxes, about $6,000 for his property alone. So, we did not assume that there was an issue, but we did do a ton of organizing with many of the communities here all across the county and hosted a series of property tax equity workshops, supported people to do appeals, looked at neighborhoods. And so I just want to say that all of this has come through the incredible power of people rising up across this county. These are some of the photos of those. But what we found really surprised us, and I know many of you have already seen this before. These are again examples This is on the same street in Chapel Hill, a black-owned property that is built in 1952 and is less than half the size of a duplex owned by an investor, yet they would have been paying literally higher property taxes, a higher value on that property. And I'm just giving you a few examples that are remarkable but are not an anomaly. I have a whole 50 examples. I'm only going to show you 3. Here's Rogers Road on the right, 10 acres, owned by the Purefoy family, multi-generational, half of which is marshland, right next to the 100 acres of the country club in Meadowmont or in the Oaks. Literally, that 10 acres had a higher property land value. 10 acres, half of which is encumbered, would have paid more in property taxes than the Chapel Hill Country Club. The last example is a tiny peewee home in Northside on the right. It's built in the only place on that land that could have been built, and yet its land value was higher than Mac Brown's $6 million mansion near campus. On a 1-acre piece of property, where 1-acre pieces of property are selling for about $1.3 million this year. So, property values are supposed to be based on the market rate. So let's look at that. Which bars are higher, the red or the blue? Red, okay? These are historically black neighborhoods all across the county, from Cedar Grove to Perry Hill to downtown Chapel Hill, Carborough, all different kinds of neighborhoods. Councilville's there too. The red bar is the median increase in the actual assessed value. The blue bar is the market increases in those neighborhoods. So the market increase in these neighborhoods is far less than the assessed value. The assessed value is almost twice as high. Now let's look at comparable wealthier white neighborhoods all across the county. Which bar is higher, blue or red? Blue. These neighborhoods had higher market rises, yet the assessed values were lower. So let's put those side by side, and what you get is almost exactly the same increases in the market price from the last several years, and yet the increase in actual assessed value is over twice as much in those black neighborhoods. So, is it a problem? Yeah. I'd say yeah. So let's look at another big problem. In Orange County, the 50 highest value sales in the last 3 years were assessed for, wait for it, $115 million less than their sale prices before appeals. And many of these appealed and were successful at getting them even lower. Most of these were luxury apartment complexes that have sold themselves on raising the property taxes across the county. An example, the Trilogy apartment sold for $93 million in 2021. Before appeal, its value was only $70 million. Shifts the burden onto all of you. Anybody who's a homeowner in Chapel, or renter in Chapel Hill, Carborough, Orange County at large. And it's also at the high end. Here's a high-end resident that sold for $6 million, was only valued for $3.5. Just a few glimpses. Now, what does this look like all across the county? And one of the things that surprised folks is when we really said, okay, the market is about the same, yet what does it really look like if we were to map out where the highest property tax increases would happen across the county? So, we did a series of maps. Here is a map showing the change in property taxes, so this is in taxes, in downtown Chapel Hill, Carborough. Green is either a decrease or a slight increase, and the darker it goes, so yellow, orange, red is high increase. All the black communities have the highest increase in Chapel Hill, Carborough, but it gets even worse. Let's look at Hillsborough, near where we are. Fairview, Mars Hill, Rencher, and Piney Grove are the dark red on the map, where the highest increases would have been, over twice what the other neighborhoods are. Let's look at West 54. You can literally pinpoint the black communities on the map, Councilville and Rangewood, and there's a Habitat community also that we could have circled a little farther down. Homestead and Sewell School Road, there's the historic Rogers Road, which is especially interesting because the rest of it is part of Rogers Road, but it's all the white subdivisions right south of the historic Rogers Road. So the part on the map that's highlighted is the actual historic Rogers Road area. And now let's look at Eflin and Cedar Grove. You can literally find the black communities on the map by where those increases are. This is Green Pine Road, Eflin Cheeks, and Perry Hill. So, is it a problem? All right. Yes, it is a big problem. And what I'm here today to show you also is the first thing folks told us at every level was you just need to submit individual appeals. So a ton of folks did, right? Hundreds across the county. And I want to show you to that informal appeals process. So we've had a much better result with the formal appeals process. But I want to show you with our informal appeals, this was after an appeal. So we had a property in Councilville. It was valued almost $500,000. It was probably worth $115,000 in what the value should have been. But it had an accessory dwelling that was abandoned for 30 years. Literally would probably cost money for somebody to tear down. They presented evidence in the appeal, took pictures, given to the county. After the appeal, that's the property on the left, they still gave it a higher value than a brand new accessory apartment with granite countertops in the white community that had not appealed. Okay? So, meanwhile, one of the apartment complexes during the informal appeals process that was valued at $6 million less than its sale price from a couple of years ago got an additional $7 million off of its value. So all of the informal appeals across the county from the black neighborhoods did not cumulatively equal this one commercial value. So is there a problem in the tax office? Yes. Yes. Now, I will say that the next part of this is to show you that advocacy here has made a difference. More than any other place I have worked, people have come out, showed up, and it has started to bring about significant change. So here's some pictures. Many of you were probably at the assembly back in the fall. Many of folks came and advocated for their neighborhoods, shared their stories. Many of the properties I've shown, folks came out and shared those directly with the commissioners, who at first had said it wasn't a problem, and now are all understand that it is a problem, and are starting to really do stuff about it. Because of all of you, because of folks who advocated. And it has made such a difference now that we have really started to make change. All right? So, it mobilized the county response. The commissioners started to take action, as did parts of the tax office and the Board of Equalization. Those three things ended up bringing about significant change using our data. The county ended up reviewing 171 neighborhoods, including all of the historically black neighborhoods that our coalition identified. And by our coalition, I mean the Orange County Coalition. And all of those historically black neighborhoods ended up getting neighborhood-wide adjustments through the process. So that was huge. It was a huge success. The other thing is that the coalition supported hundreds of successful formal appeals. The appraisers started to change their tune, and the Board of Equalization was very fair-minded and started to really make change. Those ended up resulting in another significant round of reductions for hundreds of properties. So that was huge. And then finally, the county really started to also realize this is a systemic issue, and they started a working group that is really reviewing the entire reval process. And that is a major effort that we need to make sure results in real system change. All of those things have made such a difference that we have now seen about $1.25 million per year in reduced property taxes for longtime black residents across this county. Property values are in place unless you have major changes for 4 years. So that's $5 million total. $5 million that if folks had not come out, they would have been overpaying in property taxes in this county. And already folks who have come out and said, I almost had to move out of my home because of how high my property tax value is. We had one resident who would have been paying $10,000 of overassessed taxes. So in 4 years, that's almost $50,000. And he's on a fixed income and doesn't qualify for some of the property tax support. 1/4 of his income would have been going to property taxes. And if that was justified, it'd be one thing, but it had no justification. So this effort is super important. It's making a difference in people's lives, and it will make a difference to see the county commissioners, once they started to change their tune, everything did start to change. So it makes a difference at the county commissioner level that they know what they have a right and a power to do, and that the tax office can make change. My final thing is, more is required. This is a system-wide issue. Folks need to take accountability for where it went wrong, because it wasn't just a few computer mistakes. There are some system-wide errors here that need to be prevented from ever happening again. There are a lot of things at the state level that we need to fix, but I will say that there are a lot of things that this county can fix within our state property taxation system. Most of the problem that we saw in Orange County was not a function of how the state requires it. It was a function of how the county was implementing it. So, what our commissioners say and what they commit to will matter. We have seen counties in North Carolina and across the country that have identified these scale of problems and even bigger, and have overhauled how things were done and have seen drastic change. I just met with somebody who in their county, it was a $1.9 billion inequity, and they have reduced $1.8 billion of that inequity by totally changing how they did things. So it is possible. Your advocacy makes a difference, and what our commissioners choose to do and how they choose to pay attention makes a difference. So it's super important that we're supporting anti-displacement and affordability, which is we're going to come to later. Both go hand in hand. It is so important to be able to keep folks rooted who have made this county what it is. Thank you for being here, for staying put, for teaching all of us what it means to be a community, and help keep pushing, because it will make a difference. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beverly Walton. I'm a member of Latticeville Grove Missionary Baptist Church. I'm also a member of Orange County. I live on Rencher Street. I'm a long-time resident of Morris Hill. I'm here to talk to you all about preventing displacement. As a lot of you know, in years past, you've seen people lose their homes because of property taxes that they couldn't pay. $2,000 should not cost somebody their home. It should not be auctioned off because they couldn't afford to pay their taxes, because the taxes were too high to begin with. In 1985, on Rencher Street where I live, my father-in-law, my mother, my father, and some other people on Rencher Street got together. They went out and got a grant. There was no running water, there were no bathrooms, there was no paved street, it was just a dirt road with houses. At that time, in 1985, even the county commissioners saw how bad that neighborhood was, Rencher Street. They even chipped in some money. Now we have a paved road. All the houses have running water, but we also have what? High taxes. So in 1985, they helped us out, but it's like we've been paying for it ever since. So I live in my father-in-law and mother-in-law's home, but my father-in-law built the first home on Rencher Street. My father built several of the homes that are on Rencher Street. So I've been on Rencher Street for 67 years. My parents were there before me. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law were there before my husband. We've been on Rencher Street, and the taxes have done nothing but go up, up, up. The house I live in, I appealed because it was so high. The taxes were so high. The adjuster finally came out. The appraiser finally came out after I did a formal appeal. Well, he walked in and he said, well, Miss Walton, where's your central heating and air? I said, come on, let me show you. window unit, central air, wood stove, central heat, kerosene stove, central heat. He said, oh my God, you don't have central heating and air? I just showed it to you. They are praising my house that has not had any work done on it, hasn't had any central heating and air, hasn't had the floors fixed. If they weren't concrete, they'd probably be falling in by now, because the ones that were wood did fall in. We had to finally get somebody to help us do that. But I'm just saying, you're taxing people out of homes that have not been remodeled. And you got houses across town that are brand new, that you're letting them appeal their taxes, giving them a lower price. As a matter of fact, in my neighborhood, we have a house, well, it was a beauty shop. They gutted it, they remodeled it, inside and out. Taxes were lower than ours. They did a simple appeal, and the taxes went lower. That's not fair. My house could be falling in, and I would be paying higher taxes. But I live in a black and brown community. I live in a low-income community. So why am I carrying the burden of somebody that can take $2,500 and go to Disney, come home, pay their little property tax, or the lower property tax, should I say, and then appeal that and pay that with no problem? It's not fair. And we need to hold not only the county commissioners, because they are over the tax office, they are over a lot of people that they could do away with, start a clean slate, and make this fair. So it's not that they can't do. We need them to say they will do. Thank you. Next we have Miss Jenny Fasheed.
I'm going to make a quick announcement. You may notice that there's sign-in sheets being passed through. We want to be able to stay in touch with you, so please write your name and the best contact information as the sheets come down the aisle. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to challenge you to repeat after me. I am. Somebody. I am. Somebody. My name is Jenny Parrish Foushee. I brought my little brother Melvin Parrish to help me out on some history.
So don't nobody start nothing. All right.
And we are residents of Chapel Hill. And I have been for 80 years. We are here tonight because we love this town. But I'm worried about who gets to stay in it. Chapel Hill often talks about being progressive, opening doors for others, and inclusive. But for many black families, especially those who have been here for generations, rising taxes takes a tale that's very different. They tell us that even if we do everything right, work hard, buy a home, pay our taxes, we may still be priced out of the community we have built. Property values are rising fast, and on paper, that looks like success. But for homeowners on fixed and modest income, especially seniors, those rising values don't mean we have more money in our pockets. They mean higher tax bills. They mean hard choices between paying our taxes or fixing a roof. helping a grandchild or even a great-grandchild with special school expenses. Families, it means selling not because they want to, but because we have no other option. If Chapel Hill truly values equity, then remaining in this town should not be a privilege reserved for the wealthy or the newly arrived. It should be possible for black families to age in places, to pass homes down to their children like everyone else, and to remain part of the future of this community. From one man, God made every nation of men that they should dwell in the whole world. God is no respecter of persons. Big brother, now it's your turn. He's going to tell you something about how we purchase our property, our parents and our grandparents, and why we need to stay where we are. Okay.
I do the best I can. My name is Melvin Parrish. I'm a lifelong liver in Orange County. And the young man up here before, he said something that I've been knowing all the time. It was shocking before and it's shocking now. I knew Orange County was a good county. I knew they had money because I've lived here and I've paid taxes all my life. I've never lived anywhere else. And so, you know, I'm standing here today talking about things that should have been settled 80 years ago. And that's what bothers me. You know, we're supposed to be educated. We're supposed to be people that are working together. It takes the support of all of us. But why do we have to bear the burden on our backs? Now, let me just say that I'm not going to preach, but let me say this. I have paid taxes, and I'm still paying. And my parents struggled back then. And I live on the land that they scuffled and worked for and paid for and worked along before World War II. Okay? Now, I'm still doing the same thing. I thought we had the land paid for, but I found out that we don't. But what I found out was a lot of us will say today that we own fixed income. Let me tell you something. I didn't get to wait till almost 80 years old that knew I was on fixed income because I worked for whatever they offered and I accepted whatever they paid when they paid it. Now you tell me if I'm not making enough, how in the world, and I'm going to keep up with the people across the road that lives in a house and have an 8-hour job, and then only one person in the house working. And then they come home and they have a vacation home, like the young lady said, in different cities. They send their children to a better school. That's why my parents, and that's why we worked, so that we would be able to do. But because I was on a fixed income, this is why I'm in the fix I am today. Okay? All right? And you County Commission, I'm here for help. Okay? Because I got a real problem with the tax office that I've been struggling for that I thought I shouldn't have to. And so, you know, people say, well, I waited, I retired. Now I'm on fixed income. I've been on fixed income all my life because somebody else wrote me my check and told me what house I'm going to live in, where I'm going to send my children to school, and how long I will live in it. And so my time is running out. I've never paid taxes nowhere else, never lived anywhere else but Orange County. And I tell you what, if I didn't pay them, they'd let me know. And so they have come and put me in a position where I've got to pay something that I wasn't supposed to have to pay. But I'll deal with it. I won't get into it a lot. But all I'm saying is, our parents and black folk and white folk too, you've been struggling, but we haven't been treated right. And so all I'm saying is, we need each other. Then why don't we work together? And listen, if I take something from you, and they take the same thing for me to live, and I'm going to shortchange you, how do I expect you to keep up with me. Now, I don't mean to be calling you out. I'm talking about everybody. Okay? Because I don't, you know, Orange County was built on the backs of black folk. I know because I've seen it. Okay? It's built on the backs of black folk. And so, you know, I'm tired of carrying the burden. You know, I don't want my children and grandchildren to have to go through what I've gone through. I'm tired. Now, I'm going to keep working. I'm not going to sit by and let you come along and say, going to take what I worked for all my life just because you need some kind of food that's going to benefit the majority of the people. See, we all ought to be included. And I'm here to say from this point on, I want to be included. I don't intend to be left out no more. Thank you.
I am.
Yeah.
Somebody. I am.
Yeah. I am
Somebody.
Well, listen, I just want to say this. I don't mean no harm. But if you want me to vote for either any of you, then you do something for me, all of us. Okay?
And now we have Reverend Boss from Piney Grove.
We have heard so much. We have to make some differences. And I found out a long time ago to make differences, there has to be some changes. You have to make changes if you want differences. You can't keep on doing the same old thing the same old way and think that you're going to get a different result. You got to do something different. I'm here to talk a little bit about affordable housing, specifically about Habitat. I am a native of Granville County. God has blessed me to come to pastor a church in Hillsborough. Matter of fact, it's the greatest church in Hillsborough. I needed to say that. But one of the most lovely churches. Piney Grove is in a community that the church has been there for 138 years, where African Americans have come to worship. Amazed me that Habitat was building a 75-house townhouse development about a mile away from the church. Somehow or another, you would think that the community would have something or be a part of the development. But how can we be a part of something that Habitat is designed to help African Americans to experience the American dream? And so many of us, we have already accomplished that. And some are just trying to keep theirs. But how do that generation that is from that same community have a part and to be a part of the new development? I asked that question. I have been in meetings for approximately a year and a half. started out just wanting to see some of my members have the opportunity to have the American dream. I was once told in one of the meetings that the American dream was not for everybody. I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody who does not want to experience the American dream. Now, I'm not from Orange County, and Granville County taxes are not like y'all's. But we're able to live among each other to help one another. And even on our boards, there are color. Orange County, you don't have any color. Why don't you? Why don't you in your county? But let me get back to Piney Grove. They are building habitat houses that's supposed to be affordable. I found out that the average salary that a person have to be able just to fill out the application, $61,000. Now, let me just make it clear, I don't know too many African Americans making $61,000 all by themselves. So if they are not making $61,000 and you're building 75 units, how many do you think the African Americans are going to have? I believe that if you're going to build in a historic black neighborhood, you should incorporate some African Americans to be a part of the development. What will happen if you are building all around Piney Grove and Hillsborough and you push out the African American? Sooner or later, that 137-year-old church will be gone because there will be nobody to go. Because you all pushed them out. You didn't want to help. Now, I believe in my heart, though, because I keep fighting for a year and a half and I ain't giving up. I just believe that there is a change going to come. There is going to be a change that will come. Now, how can we make this work? Easy. We need more public help. County commissioners, we need more money. We need more money in housing. If you were able to do this in Weaver's Grove, with the public assistance that you gathered there, and do it in Autumn Village, we would be able to house 20 people in Autumn Village at $32,000 to $33,000. Minimum wage is what they are making. Your custodians, your lab technicians, your CNAs, you are making it so they would be able to afford an American dream. But we need your help. And I'm not one of those type of people that believe that, guess what, that it all just have to come from you. I don't believe that. I believe that with the public help and the county help, and we have already started our own fundraisers. We have already raised over $70,000. And we're getting ready to have another fundraising event. We need your help. Somebody said it can't be done. I flew to New York City a few months ago, Cameron and I, to see the Nehemiah houses that New York created for affordable housing. New York City down. If they could make affordable housing for people making $26,000 a year, surely we should be able to do the very same thing in Orange County. If they could do it in New York. So the question is tonight, why not do it? Why not do it? Prove who you say you are. Yeah. If the change don't come now, it's still on its way because the wheels are already turning. It's on its way. And there are going to be some changes that will happen in Orange County. Because why? You are sitting in these seats to make a change. That's why you're sitting here. That's why I came here, to make a change, so that you will make a change, so that Orange County will begin to make a change. They'll hear your voices if they don't hear your votes.
I don't know who created this agenda to have to go behind Reverend Boss, but here I am. Here I am. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Charlotte Holmes. I stand here before you to participate in this session to help facilitate the remainder of our time together. I was born in Orange County, raised in Orange County, graduated Orange High School. Didn't leave the county to go to college because I went right on down to Chapel Hill, spent my 4 years. Whoop, whoop, Tar Heels, whoop, whoop. And while I moved up the street into Alamance County, my mother and father remained in the house that I was raised in, and they have been there since 1974. In that same house that I still go to every day to check on my mama. So I stand here today not just as a Orange County resident, a member of Lee's Chapel Missionary Baptist Church down the street in Cedar Grove, whoop, whoop. But as an advocate for my church family, and quite frankly, my mama. Because you ain't gonna mistreat my mama. Now, that being said, let me get to the job I was asked to do. You've heard from several people tonight talking about the crisis that we are in. You heard Reverend Boss talk about one of the reasons is the affordable housing. You heard them talk about displacement. And several times you heard them talk about equity. And it's not lost on me tonight, as it shouldn't be lost on any of you, that we sit here tonight
during Black History Month discussing the importance of equity, that we all have an opportunity to be treated equally. So you've heard a lot of information tonight, and you're going to hear the proposals. Our proposals tonight are about committing to reinvest more boldly than ever in the people and the neighborhoods that are so essential. You've heard us talk about the communities and the long-standing members of those communities and how important it is that we remain. You've also heard from Pastor Mike that you're going to hear our proposals and that they're grounded in realism, but they're also bold. And it's important that we understand that they are about change and about being different. And so we're going to encourage all of you sitting here tonight as we listen to the commitments from our county commissioners to see if you hear words of change and about being different and about making sure we continue to move in the right direction. We want to now welcome our candidates for county commissioner who are here to build a relationship with the communities and respond to the proposals to prevent displacement and increase affordable housing. We want to say thank you for being here and taking the time to meet with us. So let's thank them at this time with a round of applause. You can see the full list of candidate names in your program, and we will introduce each one as they speak. They are here to respond to the proposals and to preserve and create affordable housing and to share with us their vision and platform, however brief tonight, because we are moving forward with time, and in some cases, the steps that they are already taking to address the housing crisis. We do want to clarify for everyone that is here that there have been meetings with each of these candidates. We at Justice United have reviewed and discussed each proposal and the format of tonight's assembly. So all of the candidates here have had the opportunity to hear our priorities, share their own, and prepare in advance. So there's nothing new here tonight. We'll start by asking each candidate to commit, if elected, to our proposals for property tax justice and increasing affordable home ownership, so that we can clearly understand all the candidates' commitments and accountability. We will ask them to simply answer yes or no. Just yes or no. Are we clear? Yes or no? Y'all had to forgive me. My career was spent as a educator, coach, and high school principal. So I give directions and I repeat them so you can understand what you are being asked to do. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page and you understand what you are asked to do. Okay. We're now going to ask you, the candidates, to come line up here beside me at the podium so that we can pass the mic to hear each of your answers. All of the proposals are detailed in full in the program that most of you have received at the door. For the sake of time, I am going to summarize each proposal to be read aloud, but we're asking you, candidates, to commit to the full proposal detailed in the handout. Not just my summary, but the full proposal in the handout. Y'all still with me? Okay, they're being a good class right now. Good class right now. All right. We also want to make it clear that we understand that each of you are as one county commissioner, you can't guarantee a majority vote. But we are asking if you would support these proposals and be a leader in working with your fellow commissioners to follow through. That's what we're asking for tonight. And as someone who has spent my whole career advocating for young people, I'm asking you to share that commitment to be a servant leader and serve the people of the Orange County community. Not just some of the people, not just the rich people, but all the people in Orange County. Okay. All right. Making sure I'm following directions. Sometimes I can go off on a tangent. All right, for everyone attending, on the back of your program, you can find the commitment chart. You are invited to track the commitments of each candidate as they make them, and also use the space below for notes on the candidate's track record, vision, and platform that they will have an opportunity to share. Does everybody have something to write with? Anybody need a pen? Because they were giving them out at the front. So you could take your notes. You don't have to ask later. Now, what did that? No, you ain't got to worry about it. You take your notes. Take your notes. You have a question? We're talking about commitments and accountability. A promise can be empty. We're asking you for commitment and accountability. And know that this group, remember you were a little early in my program because I was going to finish up with, please know that the people in this room are committed to holding you to what you say. I just said that. Yes, ma'am. All right, I'm moving on time here. So you're going to use this mic here. And they want to go in the order, the at-large candidates, and I got to make sure y'all are in order so I don't mess up here. You're in reverse, so I should be. Okay, they're in the right order. So I got Adam Beeman, correct? He's not here. He's on Zoom. My apologies. Reading is fundamental. Jeffrey Hoagland, Karen Stegman, Jamesetta Bedford, did I say that correctly? Maria Palmer, Beth Bronson, Earl McKee. Okay, so we are in the right order. Am I getting assistance with my person on Zoom, or we're just going to ask him at some other point? Okay. All right, so our first one. There ain't many folks that they will say they can't hear me, but I can speak loudly. I can probably put this mic down. They can hear me down the street. Okay, so we will be here with our in-person candidates. So I'm going to hand you the mic. Proposal 1, if elected, will you commit to meeting the Orange County Property Tax Justice Coalition after taking office and quarterly to track progress and ensure accountability on these commitments?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. C, yes. Yes.
Yes, I already do.
So yeses from everyone on our first proposal. All right. Our second proposal. If elected, will you increase funding to prevent displacement of longtime homeowners like my mama? This includes $1 million total in anti-displacement funds for the next fiscal year. If you are currently in office, we ask if you would dedicate 50% of unexpected surplus to social justice and housing funds. If you're not currently in office, we ask if you would dedicate that amount if you were.
No.
Yes. No. Yes. Yes.
No.
Okay, so we got a mixed bag on that proposal. Please make sure you're making your notes. Please remember that after we go through this proposal, they will have an opportunity to speak. Proposal 3. If elected, will you make the property assessment process equitable by following the steps in the full proposals, including adopting the best practices outlined in the full proposal, addressing the undervaluing of investor property, meeting with community groups on the ground to ensure that they have the full support for anti-displacement work?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So on proposal 3, we have all yeses again. Okay. Y'all are doing a great job following directions. I appreciate you. Proposal 4, if elected, will you commit to the proposals outlined in the full program to ensure the tax office prioritizes equity and transparency and is held accountable to those standards?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, and it's already in progress.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Proposal 5, if elected, will you commit to dedicate $1.5 million in increased funds, notice increased funds, that can be used for deeply affordable home ownership for households earning 30 to 50% of the area median income? And will you commit to convene meetings with our members and local corporate leaders to discuss increasing investment in affordable housing?
No.
Yes.
No to the dollar amount, yes to the meetings.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Excuse me, I had to take my notes as well. Okay, when it's his turn. Okay. Okay, all right, good deal. Okay, so as promised, we will have an opportunity for the candidates to share. Sorry, the feedback is getting to me. To share up to 4 minutes to explain your answers, to share your vision and platform, and your track record for preventing displacement and creating affordable housing. I do want to remind you that you do have a we do have a timekeeper. Where's my timekeeper? There she is. She's right in front of you. Can't miss her. Whoop, whoop. All right. She will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining and when it's time to move on to the next candidate so that we can respect everyone's time here today. Please remember to follow those directions. You know what? Actually, let's do that if it would be helpful for you to sit down and.
That's what.
And actually, we're going to hear first from Adam Bean, who was on the Zoom, and we're going to give him the mic, and it should work.
Hold on one moment. Adam, hold on one moment. All right, try again.
I just want to go ahead and state that I say yes to all of the proposals that were made tonight. That I can get that on the record. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to join you tonight. I truly appreciate the invitation to be there in person I'm joining you by Zoom because of a long-planned 10th anniversary trip with my wife, but I'm still grateful to be part of this important conversation. I want to begin with a simple principle. Long-time residents should not be priced out of the communities they helped build. Housing stability is about dignity. It's about whether seniors on fixed incomes can remain in their homes. It's about whether working families and renters can stay rooted in their neighborhoods where they worship, raise children, and build community. And it's about whether the next generation can afford to build a life here in Orange County. I support prioritizing anti-displacement efforts and deeply affordable home ownership. When resources are limited, and they are, we must prioritize those most at risk, longtime homeowners, seniors, and families who have held onto their homes for decades. We must also ensure property assessment process is fair, transparent, and accessible, so residents understand their rights and can navigate appeals with confidence. At the same time, we have to be honest about the structural reality we're working within. A significant portion of land in Orange County is tax exempt, including major institutions like UNC and UNC Health. Those institutions are enormous assets to our community, but their tax exempt status does limit the taxable base that funds county services. When a large share of land does not contribute to property tax revenue, the burden falls more heavily on homeowners and small businesses. That means we have to be especially thoughtful and strategic in how we protect low-income taxpayers and renters. I believe the path forward has 3 parts. First, protect the most vulnerable, strengthen anti-displacement programs, improve outreach about relief and appeals, ensure fairness and equity in the tax office. Second, grow the pie. We should aggressively pursue state and federal housing dollars, leverage public-private partnerships, and have serious collaborative conversations with major institutions and corporate leaders about how they can help sustain the broader community that sustains them. Third, address the root causes of affordability pressure. Housing stability is not only about subsidies, it's about income and supply. That's why I prioritize career and technical education. When young people graduate into skilled, well-paying local jobs in the trades, healthcare support, technical fields, that increases household earning power. Stronger local incomes are one of the most durable anti-displacement tools we have. At the same time, we must grow smarter. Strategic wastewater investment allows us to build housing in the right places, near infrastructure, near jobs, near services. If we grow up instead of out, we increase housing supply, reduce long-term infrastructure costs, protect rural land, and relieve pressure on existing neighborhoods. When we connect these pieces, protecting the vulnerable, strengthening earning pathways, and investing in smart infrastructure, we build a more stable tax base and create the fiscal flexibility to invest in equity in a sustainable way. This is not about one budget line item, it's about stewardship. Stewardship means protecting what we've inherited, longtime neighbors, generational homes, rural land, while preparing the way for those who come after us. I am committed to working with this coalition, faith leaders, and residents to make measurable progress responsibly, transparently, and in partnership with the community. Our ultimate goal is clear. In Orange County, where longtime residents can stay, working families can afford to live, and the next generation can thrive. And to you, Reverend Boss, I am that change. I'm the outsider that is here to make the difference. Please support my campaign. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity you guys have given me.
Thank you.
That was Adam Beeman on Zoom. I know it was a little difficult to hear. But very good notes there, if you were able to hear what he shared. Next up, we have Jeffrey Hoagland. Did I say that correctly? Oh, he's on the other end now. You were down here. Y'all switched up on me. It's okay. All right. If you could come forward and speak at this time.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Hoagland. I'm running mostly right now to try to fix the actual tax problem we're having. The main thing I noticed was the reevaluations. Every 4 years, property taxes go up 20%. It's not supposed to, but that seems to be the trend. And looking through state laws, the state law requires each county to do that. But they don't require you to be taxed at that rate. So one of my main proposals I would be doing for my campaign would be to set up a tax value with the true value that your house is worth. We can set up the tax value when you moved in. So the appraisal, when you moved into your house, will be the tax value you paid. I think that'd be the best way to help most of these people, or anyone who lives here, to do that for helping your taxes. Now, I did say no to a few of y'all's proposals, and I will
You can come to the podium. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't clear.
Sorry about that. I do have some notes. So the no for this proposition number 2 of increasing funding to prevent. I do want to do funding for that. I don't want to plan on increasing it, because when you plan to increase it, that means you failed. And I don't want to run a plan that will fail, or try to fail, because when you already have the mindset you're going to fail doing something, you're more than likely going to fail. And on number 5, dedicating 1.5 to affordable housing, there's no actual definition of what affordable housing is. And until that's actually set and proper, no amount of money will help with that. Because I know just based off the current Chapel Hill number of it, they put almost 300,000. So there's 1.5 million to make 5 homes. So until we get an actual definition, I can't support something like that. And as far as number 1, yes, we should always be talking to people for taxes. That's what their job is to do, get input from people so we can know where taxes are going, how we're doing it. And then number 3 and 4, I do like doing math. So we can set up an actual formula for X acreage, X square foot for house, rent, and the times certain deductible things for different amenities you have in it. Equalize that across the board to make the evaluation fair for everyone. And that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hoagland. Next up, we have Karen Stegman, if you'll come forward.
Good evening. Thank you to Justice United and everyone for having this forum and being here tonight. I'm Karen Stegman. I'm running for the at-large county commission seat. So I have deep roots in this community. I was born and raised here in Orange County, and as a native, serving this community has always been a part of my life. Most recently, that meant serving 8 years on the Chapel Hill Town Council. From my work on the council, I'll bring a track record of fighting for more equitable government. Some examples of my experience include reimagining community safety in the wake of George Floyd's murder, creating an innovative criminal justice debt fund, and passing a comprehensive non-discrimination ordinance protecting LGBTQ+ individuals. Specific to affordable housing and preservation, I've fought successfully to preserve a manufactured housing community under threat of displacement by development, passed $25 million in affordable housing bonds, funded nonprofit housing partners at unprecedented levels, created an expedited review process for new affordable housing development, secured commitments for close to 1,000 affordable housing units paid for by market rate developers, and helped to create a town-level long-time homeowners assistance tax fund. I will bring this commitment, experience, and advocacy to the County Commission to fight for increased affordable housing funding, stronger cross-county collaboration, and greater attention to the needs of our most vulnerable residents. As a county commissioner, I will advocate to increase support for lower barrier housing that is accessible to residents making 50% AMI and below, those at risk of or transitioning from homelessness, and those re-entering the community from the criminal justice system. Additionally, supporting our nonprofit partners by providing gap funding leverages our tax dollars to go further for greater impact, such as with the request for working with Habitat on Almond Village. Supporting Community Home Trust, Habitat, and others make home ownership a reality for more of our residents, and affordable rentals are also a critical and undermet need that I will support with funding to Empowerment, DHIC, and other nonprofit housing partners. Equity in government also means ensuring fair property valuation and taxation. Thanks to this community's advocacy, we know the county's valuation process was not equitable for all homeowners, especially historic Black and brown neighborhoods. I will ensure that the recommendations of the working group looking at these inequities are implemented before the next assessment, and I will support increasing the Longtime Homeowners Assistance Fund. I'm also mindful of the complex interrelationship of these issues. Budget constraints must be factored in. We need to be careful that in addressing one issue, we don't exacerbate another by creating new expenditures that require increased taxes to pay for them. We are in tough budget times due to the ongoing lack of support from state and federal governments for affordable housing, for our schools, for healthcare, for living minimum wage. Local governments can only do so much to fill those gaps. So along with local advocacy and action, I hope we can come together with Justice United and our elected officials at all levels to make our demands heard there as well, and pressure those bodies to meet their obligations to the people of North Carolina. My record reflects a willingness to listen and lead, and now is the time for courageous leadership, and that is my commitment to you, and I hope I'll have your support. Thank you.
Now District 1, we have Jamesetta Bedford.
Many thanks to Justice United for hosting this candidate forum assembly tonight. I am going to run out of time, so I want you to know I will stay after to answer any additional questions and to continue. The reason I can't promise all of those targeted numbers is because as a county commissioner, it's my obligation and my duty to review the budget every single spring, to look at the numbers, the needs, consider those tax increases, and balance that. And that's why the target numbers are good, but I can't promise it. Also because HUD provides a lot of the money, and Donald Trump can do one of his, not allowed to curse in church, executive orders, and the money could be gone, and we sue, and it can take a year to get it back. But I truly support more affordable housing. Now, I joined the Chapel Hill Carrboro NAACP branch in 2016. I come to it from a lens of, I have an adult daughter, my middle child with IDD, which is, we don't say MR anymore, it's intellectual developmental disabilities, and autism, and then mental health issues. And so, when I moved here in '92, there was a Blue Ribbon Task Force for the achievement gap for African American students, and I was like, whatever they get, I'm gonna get it for the kids with disabilities. And so that's a lens, it's not the same discrimination, but it's similar. And so I'm the one who, during these earlier pre-meetings, said, I don't think everybody can own a home, and was quickly corrected, but my daughter, for example, would lose all of her benefits if she has more than $2,000 to her name. And that's the lens I was coming from. So I want to clarify that. But I do want to share some of the things that we are spending almost $2.3 million now. And it was Justice United that came to us a year and a half ago or so to say we have got to do more for seniors on low incomes to keep them in their homes and preserve the existing affordable housing. And so as a board, we reprioritize that. And almost $500,000 of HUD dollars are going to that purpose. And that's the money we never know what's going to happen. We are putting $15 million, 3 tranches of $5 million in the capital budget. That's to build. That's where we have to change. Listening to you all and knowing then about Habitat, we have to change the rubric. Because we didn't know, I did not know until Friday about how raising the AMI, that they were doing that or proposing that, and that would then leave out and create a racial divide. So we can change our rubric, and I will pledge to do that. The Longtime Homeowners Assistance Program is now at $396,525. We, in January, said we're going to commit to trying at 25% of your county taxes for those that are eligible. And we can grow that, Commissioner Carter said, is really 25% enough or not? We have to revisit that and look at it. That's what we had done the prior year. We also fund $181,312 for a bridge housing. That's the Wonderful House. It's in Chapel Hill. And that's for those that are coming out from incarceration, jail, institutions, homelessness. And I think that's the conversation we all need to have as well. What about the lesser of these, the people who have no home at all? How do I balance that with the request for more home ownership? I am here to listen to that, but my heart goes to the people that have nothing at all. I did a budget amendment, $150,000 for permanent supportive housing. That's for the homeless who need social work in order to transition. And I'm sorry, I knew that would happen. But thank you all.
Thank you for the warning and thank you for being obedient. Next we have,
Before I start, can I say, because so many of our Hispanic brothers and sisters who are part of St. Thomas More and some other churches are scared to come out at night and ICE and raids, but they're listening, and I won't take more than my 4 minutes, but I will speak in English and Spanish, so I wanted to warn the interpreter that I will be using both languages myself, if that's okay.
I don't have a problem as long as you stay within your time.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it. So, yo me voy a traducir. Gracias.
Maria Palmer.
Thank you so much. Queridos amigos, vecinos, compañeros en la lucha por el progreso y la justicia, gracias por su activismo y por no perder la esperanza que juntos podemos crear una comunidad en que todos podamos vivir con seguridad y dignidad. So dear friends and neighbors and companions in the struggle for justice and progress, thank you. Thank you for your activism and for believing that together we can construct a more just community where everybody can live safely and with dignity. Gracias a cada una de las organizaciones que componen Justicia Unida por su apoyo a la comunidad inmigrante. Gracias por luchar por nuestra seguridad, por nuestra salud mental, por el acceso a servicios de salud y ayuda financiera. I want to thank each of your churches and groups for your support of the immigrant community, for being there and defending our safety and fighting for the mental health of our families and for access to health services and financial assistance. You've been there for us. Yo he estado en las luchas con ustedes y también he luchado con ustedes por la justicia en la valorización de nuestras propiedades, de nuestros hogares, por fondos para vivienda asequible y por el apoyo a la comunidad afroamericana históricamente marginada y cuya habilidad de vivir y prosperar en Orange County está en riesgo. I have been in all these fights with you, and we have fought together for justice in the valuation of our homes before, and for money for home repairs and for affordable housing, and to support the historic African American communities whose ability to live and prosper in Orange County is truly at risk. Lo que estamos exigiendo hoy no es algo nuevo. Hace 4 años también vinimos pidiendo justicia. Nos organizamos y pensamos que los comisionados nos habían escuchado y que habría cambio. We have been asking county commissioners to commit to this before. We were here 4 years ago asking for justice. We organized, we thought we had been heard and that changes would be made. Y tal vez nos escucharon y se olvidaron. Otras prioridades surgieron. Maybe they heard us and they forgot. Or maybe other issues and priorities were more important. Es por eso que lancé mi candidatura para comisionada, porque cuando estábamos empezando a organizarnos, pensé, necesitamos un candidato que crea que la vivienda segura es un derecho y que es absolutamente necesario rectificar esta situación. Alguien que esté comprometido a que jamás vuelvan a cometerse estas injusticias. That's why I'm running for commissioner, because when we were starting to reorganize and get together and discuss what we needed to do, I thought what we need is someone who believes housing is a human right, someone who believes that we must rectify this wrong, someone who can make sure this never ever happens on their watch. Necesitamos a alguien que exija que el sistema de tasación que se proponga sea evaluado por la comunidad antes de implementarse. We need someone who will make sure that whatever new proposal is put forth is evaluated by the community before it is adopted. Con este compromiso les pido que voten por mí. With this commitment, I ask you to vote for me, Maria Palmer, for County Commissioner. It would be my honor and privilege to be your representative and to advocate for justice and for housing security and affordability.
Next up, we have Beth Bronson.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna put that up there.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out tonight, and thank you for representing and understanding the overwhelming need to address housing inequities. I would like to thank the Property Tax Justice Coalition for putting all of this together, and I would also like to take a moment to thank Mr. Vaughn for his wonderful presentation and the reporting that he has done to help communicate the need to the commissioners of what we need to be doing. Just a couple of facts that the average median income in Orange County is $105,000. If you round that down just to $100,000, 80% means $80,000. And I think that thinking of that as a reasonable amount of need for assistance is not practical. When we're talking about affordable homes, I think we need to be talking about deeply affordable homes. I absolutely agree that this reduction in subsidies on the state and federal level are impacting our ability to help our neighbors. And this is where the county leadership can come up and we can start making a difference in people's lives. The average rent in Orange County right now is set at $1,600. I don't know if you guys are following our Attorney General, Jeff Jackson's lawsuit against some of the apartment landowners, the 6 biggest landowners in North Carolina, but he is doing very well, and he is here to represent us and figure out how we can get that number down, when that means that you would still need to make, I believe, close to $60,000 to comfortably afford that apartment rent. And that is not a home, I mean, it is a home, it is just not, it's a homestead. And when we talk about what it means to be in our homes and what affordability means, it's not just access to a house that is affordable. It's about access to transportation that's going to get you to and from your job. It's about access to services that are available near you. And in District 2, we have a lot of rural areas, and we have to think about how we're going to create affordable and deeply affordable homes in this area so that people can enjoy, the rural life, but with the attainment of being able to, work in town and or work in the rural area. So it's really important that we start addressing these issues, and I think that these commitments are a great step forward. Making the property assessment process equitable would be one of our #1 priorities should I become county commissioner. I believe that data-driven valuations build public trust, and we do need a consistency in land valuations. If there's anything that we saw from Mr. Vaughn's presentation is that this is not happening. And what is more infuriating, his heat map, so the ones with the greens and the reds showing the increase in property valuations. That is especially enraging because I am a resident of the Eflin Cheeks area. My neighbors who don't have the luxury of being incorporated as a town or a village, they also don't have representation of their town councils. And so it is up to us as county commissioners to start representing them in a big way because they need access to these types of services. So the $1.25 million reduction for black neighborhoods, for black neighborhood valuations, I think that is a wonderful progress. But I don't think that should have had to happen in the first place. And unfortunately, these injustices are not new. And we know this. And this is something that we have to start addressing from the root cause. Appeals that are submitted are usually done with people who have the resources and the knowledge and the know-how to get there. And we have to start educating all of our community members. Thank you guys very much, and I appreciate your consideration for County Commissioner.
Yeah, those 4 minutes do run fast. Last but not least, Mr. Earl McKee.
Good evening, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and I am glad to see the room full. The most disappointing part of being an Orange County Commissioner is sitting in that 4,600 square foot room, probably a little larger than this, but not much, and seeing 2 or 3 people in that room other than staff and commissioners. So to start off, I'm going to quick comment on my no votes. I voted no because I do not want to be any part of seeing you folks getting a 7-cent tax increase in 26, 27. If you want to discuss it further, I'll be open to that. But I'll start my comments. Oh, and one other thing, I'll correct one thing. There are 2 commissioners of color, Phyllis Forte Ascott and Gene Hamilton. So I'll start my comments with Luke 12:48. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him much will be required. Matthew 25:40. Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. And I tried to live by that. I've been on board 15 years, and I'm well aware, and have been since day one, my name is not embroidered on the back of any of those seats. I serve at your pleasure. I've watched this county over the decades moving faster and faster toward becoming old, wealthy, and white. And if we're not real careful, that is going to continue and accelerate. Actions I've taken over the 15 years, I helped stop a light rail that was a $3 to $4 billion boondoggle. Orange and Durham County wasted $150 million. That's gone. There's no recovery for any of that. Imagine what could have been used, but what could have been done for $150 million in local transportation. I helped bring in commercial development for the jobs and for the taxes, primarily for the jobs. But I failed to secure Buc-ee's. That's a loss of millions in sales taxes over the years. I worked with individuals and communities. I'm currently working with the Orange County Property Tax Justice Coalition, helping acquire meeting space for their trainings and supplies as they need it. I moved a 93-year-old Hillsborough resident to the front of the list for urgent home repair. I was well aware that by moving her to the top of the list, I was moving everyone else down one slot. After Chantel, she had buckets sitting in her living room, her dining room, her kitchen, her bedroom, collecting water that was draining through the roof. Resident Hillsborough contacted me. We went out, we looked at some other properties in Hillsborough, but by moving her to the top of that list, she had a roof on her house in a few weeks. I started a discussion on broadband service, co-chaired a task force with Commissioner Sally Green, who is here tonight. Commissioner Green was a moving force with that. We're now 98% or better complete with that. But I am not going to quit before I leave this board or am dead to get that to 100%. I'm now starting a new discussion on freezing taxes for those over 65, making less than 50% of median income, who have owned and lived in their home for 20 years. And I've already called for 2% across the board reduction in all departments. So I've got an interview with WHUP. I have to have 2 songs. I'm starting with Back in Black by AC/DC. Because the first time I try to address a problem, I come in a white hat, asking politely. If I have to come back, I'm wearing a black hat, and I'm not real polite. And I'm ending with a song, Me and My Rowdy Friends. So I'm asking you to join me and to quote John Lewis, Get in Some Good Trouble.
All right, thank you. All right, why don't we give all of our candidates a round of applause for sharing their platforms. We thank them for sharing their thoughts and their visions for Orange County. And now I invite Reverend Cameron Barr to reflect with us on the candidate responses and our next steps together. And thank you for allowing me to facilitate this session.
I'm Cameron Barr. I'm the pastor of United Church of Chapel Hill and a member of the strategy team for Justice United. We've gone a little long tonight, maybe a lot long tonight, but this has been a very historic meeting, bringing together communities from all over Orange County to talk about housing affordability and housing equity with these leaders who will have the power to make change in the next cycle. And so I'm asking for your permission to go a few minutes longer so that we can continue to bring this to a good ending and a good resolution. Do I have your permission to continue a few more minutes? With your permission then, if you plan to vote in this election, please rise. You voted today. All right, stay standing. If you plan to stop working on affordability and equity after this election, please sit down. You see this? You see this? All of your yeses and all of your nos. You see the commitment and the power of this community. The commitment and the power of this community that will continue to grow in the coming months and years. You may be seated. The goal of this assembly was to begin relationships with these candidates so that once those who were elected take office, we've laid the groundwork for respect and can begin to work together. And now the real work begins. The real work begins now to keep building our own people power, strengthening our relationships with and our commitments to each other, continuing to build on our research and our understanding of what is possible. We are very pleased to have received a lot of yeses to our proposals tonight. Thank you for your consideration and for your work with us. We're also a bit puzzled and a bit disappointed with some of the no's that we have received tonight. And we have something to say about both of those things. For the yeses, we have our work cut out for us. We need to make sure that they become reality. For the yeses, I want to emphasize to you that the African American communities in Orange County have been let down time and time again. And I want to emphasize to you how justified African American communities are in the feeling that perhaps you will not follow through on the commitments that you have made tonight. So we are asking for your continued collaboration, that we can make these yeses a reality. And you can bet that the people in this room will continue to insist on relationships with you to make these things possible. For the no's, or for the no commitments or ambiguous commitments, we also have our work cut out for us. To continue our relationships with each other, to make sure that bold community proposals to preserve and create affordable housing and equitable housing remain a top priority. We're going to ask for your continued listening, and we are asking for you to put the people and the stories that you have heard tonight at the center of your leadership and your decision making. And let's be clear too, we are asking for leadership from you. We need more leadership from all of our elected officials in Orange County. Fewer excuses, bigger dreams. Stop telling us that Trump is president. Stop telling us that the state government is locked up. Tell us what you are going to do for us. Lead us into a new vision for affordability and equity. It's important for everyone here tonight to believe we have the power to make this change. It's important for you to believe we are not going away. Please make sure you have shared your contact information on the registration sheets so that we can keep in touch with you for these next steps. We'll be evaluating our meeting tonight and making revisions for future meetings and assemblies that we will have. We'll organize for next year's budget to ensure our priorities are reflected in that budget. We'll meet with those who are elected when they take office next year. And in the meantime, we intend to continue growing in our numbers, in our reflection, in our research, and our strategy, and we will meet with these elected commissioners in the months ahead. Mr. Horace Johnson.
Thank you, Jesus. And thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. And I'm sorry I have to be the last one. I'll be brief. The Justice United Tax Coalition has over the past few months did over 220 appeals. Most of those were people who were coming out of Chapel Hill and Carrboro, and that's basically because they have a Jackson Center over there that can service the people. As a result of that, a colleague of mine, you may know her, retired district court judge, Beverly Scarlett, and I got together and fully understanding the detrimental impact of the 2025 Orange County tax revaluations had on lower income households, long-term Orange County residents, black and brown residents. We decided that Northern Orange needed something to help our residents too. So we started a training workshop. And we're gonna be doing this workshop at room 004 at Orange County, down behind the public library. And the intent is to train individuals who live in the community to be able to go in places like Cedar Grove Community Center, where people can come in, have their property evaluations filled out, get their appeal forms filled out, and once that's done and done properly, then we can go in front of the tax people and justify why we want those prices reduced. And let me tell you something right now. We have done in Orange County, Northern Orange, 7, and we're undefeated. We've almost saved people $1 million. Because it's intimidating when you go in that room and there's a horseshoe-shaped office, you're sitting in the middle, and there's all these people around asking you questions, and you don't have a way of defending because you're not used to it. We're preparing people. We're taking photos. We're making them toss and turn and look at the people and say, you didn't see this? You know, we had a lady who had a shed on her property for $200. When the county did a valuation on it, they valued that shed at $4,300. They never saw us coming. I think some of the commissioners and some of the tax office thought we were little people who just get up every day, go to bed, go to sleep, and they could do everything they wanted to do to us. So there's going to be some information in your flyers and stuff about who to contact. You can contact me. I have my email and phone numbers in there to set up the workshop for training. We're not doing everybody's taxes, but we want to help people get their taxes, lower valuations lowered, and we want to help people who can't drive, who don't know Wi-Fi, to get involved and get these people saved. Because I'm going to tell you something, this is 2026. Everybody knows I ran for District 2 a few years ago, but I didn't run because of the title. I ran because I saw this happening. When I came back here, I saw people of color. When I got back here in 08, it was 2,100 families in Hillsborough, black. Now there's less than 800. So what made me want to ask the questions are, why didn't they see that? Why didn't they go out and get in their car and go visit the constituency? I know people in Fairview that got generators burning oil outside to put heat in their house. But the county would come in and tell them to build a dog pen to put the dogs up. But you didn't see them living in the trailer with no lights. So my point is this, stop voting for color, stop voting for clique. Vote for who will get the job done. Don't let the primary, if you don't see your person on the primary, don't worry about it, because in August or September, if you find someone in the area who wants to be in the game, get enough signatures, they'll be put on the November ballot. So they don't tell you that. We're not forced to. Part of our problem is our problem. We got complacent. People say yes, and we say okay. And then when the push comes to shove, who do we have to blame when it keeps happening? We have to start by looking in the mirror. All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jan Philman, the bishop, to get us out here. Rabbi. Oh. Okay. Thank you.
A brief prayer to
close our time together. The Rabbi Israel Salanter taught, another person's material needs are my spiritual responsibility. We have come together this evening because we have a sacred responsibility. We have a responsibility to build a more just, equitable community in Orange County, one where the material needs and rights of all of our residents for safe, affordable housing are met, where homeowners aren't displaced by racially biased hikes in property taxes, where property assessments are transparent, fair, and equitable, where home ownership is deeply affordable to all. So we pray. God, who we know by many names, we are grateful for the power we have in coming together in mutual care, justice, and responsibility. We are grateful for the dedication of the candidates for office who are before us today and for the commitments they have made today. Bless them and us with the strength, creativity, integrity, and courage to make those elected accountable to the commitments made today to equitable, affordable housing and taxes, so that we may build a community for all Orange County residents that reflects, God, your justice and your love. V'ma'aseh yadenu konanehu. May the works of our hands be blessed for success. May we go in peace and in strength. And we say, Amen.